Indirect rule was the colonial system introduced by Lord Frederick Lugard in Nigeria. It allowed the British to govern through traditional rulers while maintaining ultimate control. This system shaped Nigeria's colonial experience in very different ways across its regions. In northern Nigeria, indirect rule was highly successful. The region already had a centralized political structure under the Sokoto Caliphate. Powerful emirs and chiefs commanded respect and authority. The British simply placed themselves above this system, allowing emirs to continue ruling, but under colonial supervision. Islamic law and hierarchical governance made indirect rule effective, as the people were accustomed to centralized authority. In western Nigeria, indirect rule achieved only partial success. The Yoruba kingdoms had traditional rulers, the Obos, but their authority was limited by councils of chiefs and elders. This tradition of checks and balances clashed with the British model of strong centralized rulers. Moreover, western Nigeria had early exposure to Christianity and Western education. A new educated elite emerged, challenging both colonial officials and traditional rulers. As a result, indirect rule worked in some areas, but faced resistance in others. In eastern Nigeria, indirect rule failed completely. The Igbo society was acephalous, meaning it had no kings or centralized rulers. Instead, villages were governed by assemblies of elders and community consensus. The British tried to impose warrant chiefs, individuals appointed to act as rulers. But these chiefs lacked legitimacy, often abused power, and were rejected by the people. This led to widespread resistance, including the famous Abia Women's Right of 1929, where women protested against warrant chiefs and colonial taxation. Indirect rule collapsed in the East because it clashed with the decentralized traditions of Igbo society. In summary, indirect rule succeeded in the North, partially succeeded in the West, and failed in the East. The differences reflected Nigeria's diverse political and cultural systems. This colonial policy deepened regional divisions, and its legacy continues to shape Nigeria's political history today.